I'm Ted Berg for SNY.TV, and welcome to Know Your Enemy, presented by Pepsi Max. The Yanks welcome Cleveland to the Bronx for a 3-game set, so calling in to chat with us is Paul Hoynes, Indians beat writer for the Plain Dealer. Paul, how are you?
Good, Ted.
Paul, let's start with a good thing for the Indians, and you mentioned before the show, their bullpen has just been a great strength for them this year.
Yeah, they've really got a lockdown bullpen when they have a lead. The best combination is Vinny Pistano, the setup guy, and closer Chris Perez. Perez has converted 23 straight saves since blowing the season opener. And when Pistano and Perez are in the same game, pitching the same game, the Indians are like 23-2, some stat like that.
I suppose that's probably helped them win more than they'd be expected to, given that they've been outscored this season.
Yeah, their offense has struggled. It is, they're great in tight games, 1- and 2-run games. They've won a lot of games that way, but it's mostly because of the bullpen. If they get a lead into the 6th or 7th inning, they've got a great chance to win. But offensively, they have really struggled. They lost Travis Hafner. He was kind of hitting in the middle of the lineup. They missed his bat. Carlos Santana, who has stayed in the middle of the lineup after a real good first year in the big leagues last year, he's really struggled. They're switch hitting catcher,
and they've really had some trouble with lefty starters.
Lefty starters have just worn them out. They're 5-15 against left-handed starters, and if a manager doesn't bring a left-hander in there, a left-handed reliever, if a left-handed reliever isn't the first guy to come out of the bullpen to face these guys, the manager should be, fired. Really, I mean, they are really, really vulnerable to left-handed starters and relievers.
Paul, let's talk about the pitchers in this series. Josh Tomlin, who's going tonight, had a nice year for the Indians last year. Great control guy. It seems like he's being hit harder this year.
Yeah, he's always thrown a lot of strikes. He's real aggressive, real gutsy. He comes right at guys, but kind of the book is swing early on Josh right now. So he's been a little better lately, but he has to throw quality strikes. If he doesn't throw quality strikes, he's going to get knocked around a little bit.
And Justin Masterson, who had a breakout season last year, has had a series of really nice starts lately.
Yeah, Masterson, is the Indians' #1 starter. Struggled for the first month and a half, maybe 2 months, but has really started to turn it around a little bit here. His velocity has increased. Last year he was throwing 95 regularly. He's back up to that again, and he's getting some run support. This is a guy that's always every starter on a staff. Usually there's one guy that usually doesn't get a lot of runs. And traditionally, he's been that since the Indians acquired him from Boston in 2008.
In Ubaldo Jimenez, they have a guy who historically has never been a great control guy. Earlier this season, he was walking the ballpark, but it seems like he's been better of late.
Yeah, he's really worked hard on his mechanics. Scott Radinsky, the pitching coach, found a flaw in the mechanics, and he's won 7 games. The other top starter with them is Derek Lowe. They both won 7 games, but Ubaldo has really come around. He's made a lot of changes. He's worked hard on it, and now he says that his whole delivery is a lot more natural. And Masterson and Ubaldo, their big problem early in the year was they were walking a lot of guys. They were in the top 5 in the American League in walks allowed. They've started to command the strike zone a little better.
Paul, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Remember, for all the latest Yankee coverage, be sure to check in at itsaboutthemoney.net and chat with other Yankee fans throughout the series at nyyfans.com.